going on, guys? Snake Eyes here, bringing you part 2 of my trailer analysis. Now, if you haven't seen part 1, I'll go ahead and leave an annotation. You guys can check that out. But I'm going to go ahead and pick up right where I left off, and there's actually a lot to discuss in this episode, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. And picking up where I left off, you start seeing some in-game footage of the area that you're going to be exploring in episode 1. And right off the bat, I personally love the design, more notably on this one temple that you see right here. Now, in my opinion, it looks more of a Mayan temple, like that's where they got the architecture from. And being that I am Hispanic, I really do love the fact that they are using some type of architecture from a Hispanic ancient civilization. And like I said, I just all around love the vibe of it. You can see where there's going to be some really tight areas, but the area in general looks like it's wide open, looks like there's not really much that's constricting or anything like that. And like I said, it's still a nice little mix of low lights with highlights, and pretty much tight corridors with open spaces, and just all around I really do love it. The design is pretty nice, and I can't wait to see more of it in some later trailers. And then afterwards, after they stop showing you the locations and all that, they start showing you some of the enemies that are going to be in here. Now, one of the enemies that kind of caught my eye was this bloated looking thing. It looks like they're gonna be attacking in swarms, and then right after the person attacks, it looks like they start unleashing, I want to call it corrosive, but I'm really not too sure what it could be. It's not an acid color, but like I said, I'm really not too sure. These guys kind of remind me of the monsters that were in the Painted World. There might be a little relation to that, but again, I'm not too sure. And like I said, I'm really not too sure if they're going to be doing corrosive damage. But then also you get to see this one monster right here, so I really couldn't make out what the thing is, especially since it shows up just for a brief instant. But one thing that you can note is that it does do dark damage, so that's something that's kind of crazy. This area in general looks like it's going to have a lot of variety as far as the enemies and the element types that they're going to be damaging you with, because like I said, with the bloated things attacking looking like it's corrosive, these things that do dark damage, and this right here that looks like it's going to be poison. These were actually kind of the ones that, in all honesty, were my favorite as far as the design goes. It's going to be a pain in the ass because they have the same statues that you find in the Black Gulch. And like I said, as far as enemy types and variety in this, it's definitely looking like it's going to be a pretty crazy place. If you're not prepared, you're definitely going to be caught off guard. But like I said, going back to these enemies real quick, I really do like the design of them. It looks like just a couple of beetles with the poison shrines on their back, and I kind of want to get into what these things are about, because they just look a little bit different, not something that I've seen yet. And like I said, they might be a pain in the ass, because me personally, I hate the Black Gulch, especially for those poison statues, and to have enemies like this, it looks like it could be frustrating, but at the same time, for some weird reason, I actually really like it. So that's kind of something that was a little weird. And in this next image right here, you actually get to see another actual humanoid enemy with the poison statue beetle looking thing. And here we actually get a glimpse of a new weapon and also another type of enemy that we're going to be fighting. Now, there are multiple frames all throughout this trailer that show these enemies, and basically I just kind of picked the ones that were the clearest ones and kind of just balled them all up. But like I said, in that first frame you saw one of the weapons. In this second frame right here, you're actually looking at a lance type weapon. And one thing that I do note, and it might be interesting, is the fact that these enemies, as far as the armor goes, kind of look like the old knights from Hate's Tower of Flame. Now, I don't know if they're going to have any connection, but just by looking at the armor alone, that's pretty much what I got out of that. And being that this is a chapter based on the Sunken King, I was kind of thinking that it is going to have a relation towards the Hate's Tower of Flame, being that the whole entire kingdom is pretty much underwater. And like I said, I'm having more and more strong urges that this is going to be based in a different time zone, more specifically in the past. So maybe we're going to be looking at a Hades type area, but like I said, I'm not too sure. I just thought that the armor on these humanoid beings were kind of similar to the old knight armor in Hades Tower of Flame. But obviously the old knights are actually a little bit bigger, and they look nothing like this. These people look like they're around the same height and weight as the player character, and with the old knights, you can obviously tell that that's not the case. but that's just something that I kind of noticed. Let me know what you guys think on that one, because that's pretty much where I'm getting it so far. Coming up are two different weapons that I caught. Now, you saw the lance, and this one is actually just like a hammer one from one of the earlier screenshots that I showed you. And one thing that kind of looked a little interesting to me was the fact that it looks like a lance, but it has a heavy end. And this is just pure speculation right here. I was kind of thinking that maybe this is a lance class weapon, but maybe it's kind of like the Santier spear. Obviously probably not as overpowered, but the reason I say that is because, like I said, it does look like a lance class weapon, and the only thing that is probably restricting it from doing a lance type moveset is the simple fact that it has that big rock kind of attached to it at the end. But like I said, it looks a little weird. It might be a heavy or a great hammer type weapon, but that's just personally what I got out of it as far as my first impressions go. But let me know what you guys think. And next up, you see a red phantom. Now, in my opinion, this is actually just a regular phantom. This is not an NPC type phantom, and the reason I say that is because the phantom that you see right now is actually wearing the Executioner's Chariot's armor set, and then when it goes down with that plunging attack, it actually looks like it's using the Smelter's Great Hammer. I'm not too sure what it's called. I don't really remember since I don't use it, and that might be just a regular player invading, and that's probably just kind of a teaser. It's maybe that it's just like it might be a new NPC red phantom, and it would be cool if it was an NPC red phantom, because maybe this is actually the Executioner's Chariot himself, because in the boss fight you only fight the chariot itself and you don't really fight the person riding it. So that would be cool if this was the NPC version of that guy, but in my opinion, this is probably just another person invading the world of this guy, just mainly for cinematic use and not really nothing in particular. Right here is actually a quick screenshot of a monument that looks just like the one you would find in the Shrine of Winter, or if you were to go to Dragonary. And this is pretty much just the prophecy of, I think, the creation of the Emerald Herald. It's kind of cool that they included that in here, and maybe we can actually see it somewhere in the area. But like I said, that was just a quick little screenshot that I thought was cool, so I figured I'd go ahead and show it and kind of talk about that a little bit. And then obviously, if you guys haven't seen it in Dragonary and you can't really make it out in the Shrine of Winter, then this is actually a pretty damn nice detailed monument, so you guys can check it out a little bit more and kind of review it over and maybe come up with some lore for that. Next up is what I'm thinking is a boss. The reason I think he's a boss is because obviously he's a lot bigger than any of the other enemies that you would find in the game, and then they like to pretty much make any boss fight a lot bigger than you. One thing that I thought was pretty cool was that it was doing its, I guess, its biting move, and then you can see at the top of its mouth it has multiple rows of teeth. Like I said, that was actually pretty cool. And then when I saw this enemy, the first reaction that I got was it actually looks like some of the dog enemies that you would find either in the Gutter or in Aldia's Keep. I'm pretty much doubt that they have any connection, but like I said, that's just kind of what, you know, came into my mind as soon as I saw it. But as far as a boss fight, it definitely looks cool. At the same time, it might be a little easy because with these fights like Sif and the Royal Rat Authority, they're kind of easy to do. So like I said, this one might be one of the beginning boss fights, or it could just be a regular enemy. I'm not really too sure, but I'm pretty sure it is a boss fight. I saved some of the best stuff for last because this one right here is actually something that I got really excited about. If you guys haven't played the first Dark Souls, then first off, definitely go pick it up and then buy the DLC for the first Dark Souls, and you'll find out exactly who this dragon is. For those who have played it, you know who this is. This is Calamity, and in all honesty, he is my favorite dragon in the entire Souls series, and it looks like he's back, but obviously he's still dead. One thing that I thought was really cool is it looks like his head is blocking off an entrance to somewhere, so you're definitely going to have some type of interaction with Calamity. Obviously not as deep as we would hope so, but at the same time, it's really cool to see him back. I'm really excited for that. Hopefully there's probably some weapons dedicated to Calamity that we can see in Dark Souls 2. That would be really nice, but just seeing him in this trailer alone got me really excited. And like I said, since he is my favorite black dragon of the entire series, I think this trailer and showing him kind of just set it off for me. Everything else was kind of okay, and I really liked it and I was still excited, but for some reason, as soon as I saw Calamity, this thing has gotten me really hyped for the DLC. And going back and touching down on some of the stuff that I said on the first part of the DLC trailer analysis, when I was speculating on the crown, I was talking about how it could have some ties to the crown of Lord Gwyn, and what I was saying was we can't really be for sure until we actually see the crown as a whole. Right here is actually some of the picture of the crown being kind of hidden behind the flame, and looking at it just through these images alone, I'm pretty much convinced that it's not a part of Lord Gwyn's crown, but I'm still convinced that it is the same crown that has pretty much gone through the ages, being worn king from king, getting more worn and torn as the ages go by. I'm still convinced at that, but as far as having any ties with Gwyn's crown itself, I'm not too sure. The one thing that kind of was a bummer was I really did hope that it did have a tie with Gwyn, because then at least you would know that it has some sort of origin. These guys, I'm pretty sure they're going to explain where the crown comes from, but if they don't, then that's probably going to be the biggest cliffhanger, because if they don't explain it, it's pretty much like they fabricated it out of nothing. And in all honesty, I want to know where this crown comes from. I want to know the significance of it. And with the speculation that I had did with Gwyn, I felt like I knew where it was coming from. Now I'm totally lost, but at the same time I'm still excited, because that just means that there's more story to it. As far as it being tied with Lord Gwyn, like I said, I'm pretty much kind of backing out on that one. But as far as it being the same crown on all 3 episodes, I still am fully convinced that it is. There's really nothing that is leading me to believe otherwise. And I don't know what to think at this moment. I'm still excited for it, and either way it goes, I will be picking it up. For those who are wondering, the price for this is $10 per episode or $25 per season pass. There have been a lot of people who have been kind of wondering why they're making DLC so early, and in all honesty, I'm not one of those people. I'm actually really glad that they're making DLC. A lot of people say that they need to fix the problems that they have already before they make new content. In all honesty, I don't think that there's going to be a problem with that. You can see through the patches and the calibrations that FromSoft has been doing that they are making attempts to make the game better. Obviously, you're not going to get everything all at once, but at the same time, they're at least showing some initiative to going ahead and fixing some of the problems that we do address them about. So for people to say that they're making DLC and forgetting about the problems that it already has, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know that not to worry about it. They are going to fix it. You just got to give them time. They can't do everything all at once and right away. So if you give them time, I know they're going to fix everything. They're going to make this DLC, and it's going to be amazing. For those who are having their doubts, do what you want, but me personally, I am going to be picking this up. I definitely recommend other people to pick it up, and that's a strong recommendation, mainly because I haven't played it, and to tell people to go ahead and buy it is pretty crazy. But if you're having your doubts, I will be uploading some footage for the DLC as soon as it comes out, so that way if you guys kind of want to see some stuff before you actually pick it up, you can always come to my channel, check it out. If there are things that you might want me to do, let me know, and I've always been able to try to do requests as best as I can, as fast as I can. But for the most part, I don't know if I'm going to do a playthrough. I'm still kind of half and half on that. As far as the weapons go, you know I'm going to be showcasing weapons. You know I'm going to do PvP in there. And then you know I'm going to do boss guides for people who might be having some difficulty with that. And then in all honesty, if I ever come across some type of hidden path or whatever, I'm going to do a video on that as well. So all in all, there's going to be a lot of videos coming out for this DLC alone. And then when you pair that with the stuff that's been coming out for Project Beast, there's going to be a lot of Soul stuff on my channel. And I'm glad that they're releasing DLC, because I think it's about time that we get a new environment. And with 3 episodes coming out, there's still going to be a ton of playability until Project Beast comes out. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up. If you have any questions as far as the DLC goes or whatever, or if you want me to kind of explain some of the images that you've seen a little bit deeper, leave them in the comments below. I'll help you out. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, take care.